In 1953, another disastrous flood occurred. On the night of the 31st of January, a storm surge in the southern North Sea resulted in catastrophic flooding on the coasts of England and the Netherlands. Sea levels rose to nearly 3 metres above normal high water marks. Charles Gardner reported.
Well, the map of eastern England at this moment has been changed. The familiar curve of East Anglia, the estuaries, the Thames Mouth Islands, firm enough lines in your atlas, now have no boundaries but at the will of the sea. You can only tell for stretches of mile after mile where the coast used to be by jobbing backwards to it from some landmark that is still above the waters. It doesn't do to fly too high over these new inlets and bays and lakes. That gives you too detached a view in the sunshine. You've got to fly low. You've got to get near to it all to see what's happened. You've got to see roofs sticking out of the water to realize that this isn't a pretty bit of scenery, but it's the end of people's homes, the end of their way of living, and in many cases, the end of their lives. I'm sorry if this sounds emotional. You can't see what I've seen today and give a neat, concise account as though it was some stage-managed news affair in a tidy frame. This has been an upheaval of nature, the sort of thing we see on the films, and it's happened here in England on the doorstep of London. It starts Deptford way, as near as there. Houses marooned, roads cut, gardens swamped. Enough in all conscience, but only the beginning. Then Sheerness isolated with hungry tongues of water embracing the town. But at Canvey Island, it starts to come home, this business in its sinister terror. Neat rows of houses, people's homes, awash. The grey, brown, swilling waters flap and swirl round a centre of life that has so clearly been stricken dead. And then Foulness. And here they seem the greatest smash of all. The seawall crushed and flattened, the airfield marked only by the tops of hangars and bits of aeroplane that swilled around, and the farms, just the tops of houses and barns and stacks, and nothing else but those brown and grey waters. Mile upon mile of them, telegraph poles sticking up where roads had been, and then a boat snagged in a tree top as men desperately tried to get it clear and row it up the lane to a farm where the water lapped under the bedroom windows. The herd of cattle splashed along knee-deep, unattended, going their old way to milking time. Only at the end of the river that was once a road, there was no farmyard anymore, only deeper water. The cattle, not knowing, stumbled automatically on. Then Jaywick, a deserted village, compact, empty, washed and split by the waters. Nearby, a big caravan site that took the full force of the sea. And from above, the colours of the caravan looked oddly gay, like floating bits of confetti, till you came down and saw that they were homes, split open, torn apart, hurled together, gone and finished. And then over the North Sea to Holland. Holland, afflicted as we are by this disaster. The Scheldt Estuary Islands, Walcheren and North and South Beveland, hit and surged over by the sea. A dike has gone, a great untidy hole is punched in it as though a man had punched it with his fist. Through the gap, the sea, white and boiling, pours down onto the farms. And the farms themselves are like those of Foulness. Miles and miles, just tips of red roofs. One of them is completely under the water. A trace of the whole farm, just the ghost of it, seen only when you look directly down. As darkness fell, the marooned people of 2 nations are left there, on either side of the North Sea, surrounded by desolation. In many cases, it seemed to us from the air beyond the reach of immediate help. One felt so hopeless, and it seemed so wrong that night should now be added yet again to their horror.
Mr. Fox from Norfolk was at the heart of the tragedy.
Well, it was about 9:15 when we first found water seeping under the door, and within 10 minutes it was risen to a height indoors of about 7 feet. We, of course, didn't realise then that the dunes had collapsed behind us, and we stayed in the house until about 10:20, when the end fell out and we could see the waves sweeping by. We got out of a window by means of a rope blanket ladder and crossed underneath the houses, sheltered the row of cottages, into a hedge nearby. We couldn't get any further than this. The baby, which was tied to my back, he was 6 months old,